RB Global Challenge is basically our flagship employer branding initiative. We run this program in multiple markets across the globe, wherever RB is operational. And the objective behind doing this entire campaign is to attract future business leaders who somewhere resonate with our organization's purpose. Global Challenge is basically a competition where we where we ask students to kind of come up with business plans which are hinged around RB's existing brands. So we essentially test them on their business acumen, we test them on their resonance with RB values, and ultimately how impactful their ideas are in terms of solving critical social issues in their respective markets. And we've been running this competition since 2014, so it's been quite a long journey, and this year we had 32 markets across the world participating. One of the things that we realized as an insight was that for any team to come up with a successful business plan, a business intervention, the one thing that is to be tested at right at the beginning is their business acumen, their mental agility, and that is where more than a business plan, what we needed was some sort of a testing tool which would be sophisticated enough to reflect the dynamic nature of business. Which would also be very sharply focused in terms of testing on very specific skills. So for example, how quickly and how well can you take decisions? So we wanted some sort of a customized solution in that front, which would be contextualized to RB, but at the same time would test people using, let's say, some sort of an exciting format like a simulation. So that's why we kind of tied up with Mercer Mettl to come up with one such solution specific to RB Global Challenge. And that came in the form of putting yourself in the shoes of an RB business leader, and how would you kind of tackle critical business problems that come up in your landscape. So one of the things that we discussed with Mettl early on was that teams are not going to be sitting together and solving for a test. So how do we kind of make sure that they can reach out to each other, read the questions together, and respond as a team rather than as an individual? And we worked around problems like these, which were a little more tactical in nature. But I think where Mercer Mettl got involved was right at the beginning when we were conceptualizing the whole piece. What we really appreciated was that the team really tried to understand the kind of objectives we were trying to meet through the whole construct. So once that clarity had kind of set in, we were just thinking together in terms of, what's probably the best way to launch this, what's the best way to, invite registrations, and then ultimately roll out the simulation. One of the things that, we really appreciate about the Mercer Mettl platform and, the science that goes behind it is that it's very, very systematic. It's very well organized, and that's how we also wanted to run this whole process. So it should be very logical, it should be very intuitive. Once you've kind of logged in either as an admin or as a student, the flow of what you're expected to do, what is asked of you should be very, very clear. So that's one thing that worked for us really well with the Mercer Mettl team. Other than that, also the way data is aggregated, the way data can be downloaded from the system, the reports on assessments, the assessments themselves, these were things that stood out in terms of their very lucid structure and construct. So that's probably going to be it from a process and system standpoint from me. While we have done Global Challenge a number of times before, I think this is probably the first time we were delivering it the way we were. So given the high level of dependence on the virtual interface, on the Mettl interface, we had a lot of constant support from these guys, and it made it easier that they were thinking with us rather than us kind of letting them know what to do or just kind of course correcting where necessary. So that made it very, very participatory. It made it it made it a very successful partnership because we were kind of hearing from the experts on what our next move should be.